Hey fellow utility workers, Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Rad's Guide to Project Zomboid, Episode 19, Plan for Power Loss. The first thing I want to work on this stream is to prepare to lose power. I have managed to keep power for kind of a long time now, longer than usual, longer than average, but we will inevitably lose power. And because I'm in a food mart, it requires a little extra effort to prepare to lose it. Because there is so many things drawing electricity in this building. All of the freezers and refrigerators. And also, I have freezers and refrigerators that I don't need to be running as well. There's a few different things that we could do with that. Freezers and refrigerators either can be moved far away from where the generator is, or deconstructed. But if we deconstruct it, more than likely we're going to need a welder's mask, which I have not yet found. So there is a bit of the tracking checklist left. As you can see, jack, welder's mask, and sledgehammer. And not having found that welder's mask yet is a bit of a hamper. One that we'll manage, I think, in due time, but a bit of a hamper. And speaking of losing electricity, I would love to know when that day is coming on the radio. So the other thing I want to do is to read more of the electrical book. I don't yet have a welder's mask, so I can't really work towards leveling up my metalwork. And at this point in the game, once you have carpentry leveled up, and I would highly advise new players to get carpentry first, because carpentry is going to allow you to make rain barrels and stairs and the like, and also remove floor tiles to secure a building. It's time to level up probably electrical, metalworking, and mechanical. Electrical and mechanical. Mechanical allows you to maintain your cars. Electrical allows you to move around electrical devices. Between the two, it allows you to hotwire cars. And then metalworking allows you to secure your building in a different way with metal sheet barricades, but also maintain your cars, repair hoods and trunks and the like. So those three skills are pretty handy. And then not to say that tailoring is not handy. Tailoring is also very important as well, because that will improve your armor. If you don't find yourself getting hurt very often or at all, tailoring is of course not useful. It's only useful in the case that you actually get attacked and sustain damage and your clothing deflects it. But with that said, it's better to be prepared for damage than not prepared. I'm just going to be wolfing down some fruit. So what I'm doing right now is just waiting. I mean, it's late at night. I'm tired. I don't really want to go on too many wild adventures at this hour. We do have some rain. So one of the advantages of the rain is that the sink is going to be filling up here. So if I take a look at the water level, it will be increasing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the water dispenser's full. So this is like backup water. Way extra backup water. So in order to prepare to lose power, what I want to do is I want to phase out these freezers and refrigerators, sticking everything in the ices. And then disable, move, or destroy every other electrical device in the base that draws power. Because these, like, coolers and refrigerators, they don't have switches. They don't have light switches. You can't turn them off. They're just always on. Same with the refrigerators. There's no... It would be really cool if there was, like, an unplug function, right-clicking on it and going, like, unplug this device. That would be a game changer, in my opinion. But there is no such ability. So we are stuck, of course, with just moving or destroying it. Which seems extreme, but that's just the options we have left. So that's what we'll do. I am ridiculously tired. I've read, almost got through that electrical book. The other reason to get electrical read pretty early on is when you explore and scavenge and the like, you have a lot of opportunity to break down electrical devices like radios and televisions and stuff like that. And in reading the book early, you'll obviously gain more experience from breaking down those electrical devices. In my opinion, it's a little bit different than mechanical devices, like breaking down cars, because fundamentally, at least in my opinion, the difference is that you're going house to house for electrical, and you're already there. With mechanical, you're kind of out in the open, so it's not like a lost opportunity, because you generally don't revisit homes you've already cleared. That's just not a typical experience that players will do. Whereas, like, cars out on the road, you can always disassemble them in the future. I mean, one could make the argument that, yeah, you can revisit homes. It's just, there's not a lot of value in it once you've looted it fully. So let's see how much water we got added. Sort of curious. Oh, well, enough to wash our clothing. So over 110 units. 160 units. Okay, it's like completely full out there. Wonderful. That's really good. That means our plumbing is working. It wouldn't be a terrible idea to eventually move the sink so that it is centered and I can plumb more units to it. But at that point, like, having 160 units of water is quite a lot of water. It's unless we have like a fantastic drought where we don't have any rainfall for a long time, it's not likely to be a problem. So I don't have, if I recall, any books related to electrical. All of the electrical books are pretty rare to find, meaning that if I want to level up my electrical skill, it's all going to be very manual. It's all going to be me breaking things down one by one. I do have mechanics read, so I can choose between tailoring and metalwork. And I think I'm going to go with tailoring because I don't have a welder's mask yet, although that is on the short list of things to find. So before I venture out for my day, I want to catch a weather report. And then break down all the electrical stuff that is in the electrical drawer in the kitchen. But I think the way to approach breaking down and preparing to lose power is finding a welder's mask. I don't really see a useful alternative. All right, doesn't look like I'm losing power just yet, which is honestly surprising. So the first thing I could do here, just so that I know the scope of the work that I need to do, is to disconnect this generator, bring it upstairs, and center it over the building that I want to keep powered. Because the generator has a sphere of influence, right? It doesn't power up all of Kentucky. It just powers up about 20 cells in every direction of the generator. And I don't need the washer and... Luckily, the washer and dryers only draw power when they're running. Same with, like, microwaves and the like. But I don't need them running. So I'm going to put the generator here, which is right above my home where I'm living and, like, the kitchen. I actually might... Well, we'll see if this works. So if I connect the generator, it will tell me the sort of fuel draw that it is connected to. And I want to reduce that fuel draw. So if I hit the generator info here, it's full. And if I turn it on, we can then see it is connected to 6 generic cooled shelves, which take half a liter of gas an hour, 14 lights, 4 popsicle fridges, and 2 industrial fridges. So there's 6 cooled shelves underneath this generator that draw a considerable amount of power, and then those 2 industrial fridges that I had, I've been using as storage. So that's what we want to correct. The generic shelves here are probably these ones, these generic cooled shelves, and luckily this is not a metalworking thing. It can also be these shelves. No, this doesn't seem to... Good. This doesn't actually seem to be powered, which is weird. It's a display case of meat that apparently doesn't use electricity. so I wouldn't buy my meat from this place. And then while I'm here, I'm just going to disassemble the regular shop shelves. But that makes my life a little easier. I don't actually need a welder's mask for most of this. I thought I was going to. So hypothetically, once I dismantle all of these cooled shelves, the power draw on the generator when I lose power will go down. Now, about the lighting. One easy thing to do would be, once the bottom here is very well barricaded, I can turn off the lights. Light bulbs by themselves don't take a whole lot of power compared to the coolers and freezers, so it's not a massive concern. But if I am trying to, like, limit the amount of fuel that I'm going to need to go fetch regularly from the gas station, only using like one freezer would be obviously better than using like 2 or 3. I've got 6 planks. I think it's time for me to start barricading up one set of these doors, but not both. Alright, so 2 more planks and that will be fully barricaded. Would a wood fire stove for cooking over the oven make a big difference for power? No. Stoves only draw power when they're on, so the actual fuel drain from having a electric stove is very minimal compared to freezers and coolers that are always on. So I'm not sure if I am going to be able to get all of my food in one icy. No, actually, there's not a lot of frozen food here, so let's try that. Yeah. Okay, so this left icy freezer is empty. And what I can do here is to break it down into 2 separate popsicle fridge chunks. And maybe set them individually in the bathroom or something. I could also, if I wanted to, place them far enough away from the generator. Like, I could place them here to help me stop falling into a hole. And no, I can hear that running. That's still getting electricity. All right, I'm just gonna leave the chunks there. I also think that I might want metal shelving, because the next step is to probably move all of the non-perishables that are in here into some shelves. For now, I can always just dump them on the ground. Although there is some... Okay, there's peaches and pears that won't fit anywhere. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull out the milk, because the milk is already stale. I don't need to try to keep it from going stale anymore. And replace it with the sacks of pears. There we go. Because milk is useful, even in its spoiled state, for farming. So I'll stick that in my generic crafting shelf. Oh, nope, that's my tailor shelf. Let's not put stale milk on my clothing. That sounds like a terrible idea. And now, those 2 refrigerators that I have here, all of the rest of the food in here can just be dumped on the ground for now until I have a better storage for them. But they're ready to be moved out. So I think what I'll do is I'll put a pile of food that doesn't have storage space here for now, because I'm more concerned about preparing to lose power than I am putting food on nice shelves, right? Like, you know, I don't want my power draw to be triple that is necessary. Too heavy for inventory. Still? Put the water bottles away. Are you kidding? Okay, fine. Put the hand axe away. I think the hand axe will do it. Yep, there we go. So when we analyzed the generator, it did not mention... I think if I move these refrigerators over to where the laundromat is, it will be physically far enough that they won't be drawing power anymore. That's my guess. I could be wrong. Let's go ahead and just stick them in front of the window. Now eventually, once I have a little bit more skill in electrical, we can move these washers and dryers, or at least one of each, closer into our base on the second floor, plumb it up with rain barrels, and then be able to... Oh god, why am I going in that way? And then being able to do laundry if we want. Drying our clothes without having to, like, towel dry. So now that we're just down to one icy freezer, and if I go and check the generator, it should say that I don't have that, like, massively high fuel draw for all the generic cooled counters and for the 2 freezers and 2 fridges that I had running. Which will help immensely in limiting the amount of gasoline we burn to keep the base running. Also wouldn't mind extra towels if there's any in here. There we go. Dry self. It's nice to have a few towels. Being able to dry yourself real quick whenever you're damp. The bath towels, when left out, will dry on their own. So having a bunch of them to do a bunch of drying all at once is useful. These sinks here, so these counters can be moved up to make a better kitchen. And I think that would be a good goal at some point. Because these counters hold 50 weight, and the sinks are installed into the counters, so I can put a sink exactly where I want so that I can plumb more rain barrels. That's probably not a task for right now, but definitely something to work towards later. Because these wooden counters that are up here... Actually, I still have metal counters here, but... yeah, so I could take that chrome sink and move it over one. I'll do that at some point. Let's check the generator and see if I have fixed a lot of our power problems. Turn it on. And now it's just the popsicle fridge left and right side and the lights for 36 or about a third of a liter an hour. That is far more reasonable than what I had going on before, because I have removed all those coolers and freezers that I don't need. Given the current hour of the day, I don't think it's reasonable to go anywhere, because it's probably too late for me to get anything done. So it's going to be a little bit more reading, and also breaking down all those electricals. I've been collecting electrical devices here, so that when I had the books read, I could dismantle these for experience. Okay, there we go. Got a bunch of random electrical stuff. These scrap electronics, one of their primary uses is to repair generators. Generators, when they run, they get broken down over time, and you can repair them with the scrap electronics. You can also make your own radios from scratch, which helps with your electrical. But if you see over here, my electrical is now 49 out of 75, so I'm almost 2/3 of the way to level 1. Not bad. The other thing I can do is, let's go ahead, because I have fully read the mechanics books. Let's watch Car Zone 1. My character's a little bored, so, you know, some TV time doesn't hurt. And at this point, I would say I'm more or less ready to lose power. That I've limited what my generator is connected to, and I've situated it directly over my base. So I'm going to update the priority, and it will be find a welder's mask and spare generators. And storage, I guess. And storage. Because we have a bunch of food on the ground now. And we could do better than that. I'm going to hover over the turn off, because as soon as I hit level 2, I don't want to watch any more of this. There it goes. There might be experience left on the tape. One way to check is to go to training materials and go to VHS and then go to Car Zone. Where's Car Zone? Yeah. So see, tire maintenance, Car Zone episode 1. It's not bright colored, meaning that there probably is still experience left on the Car Zone tape. So I'm now on mechanics level 2. That was quick. And sorry, Taylor book. I know I read like a page and then stopped. I'm going to put you back and grab the mechanics volume 2. And the real advantage of this is so that I can maintain cars. Whenever you try to swap parts out for your car, because that's generally how you maintain cars, for some of the metal parts like hoods and trunks, you can maintain them with a welder's torch, welder's mask, and metal sheets. But for most things like tires, shocks, brakes, seats, you know, doors, etc., you just take it from another car and you end up with a Franken car, you know, a car made of a bunch of parts of other cars. Luckily, like, the paint's always the correct color, so it doesn't look like a Franken car. And the chance of you successfully removing and installing most of the things that go in a car is based upon your mechanic skill. So the higher your mechanic skill, the less likely you are to damage the hell out of the thing. So, like, let's say you're driving around and you break your windshield. Kind of sucks not to have a windshield. To take another windshield from another similar car, so I have a heavy-duty car, so I drive up to like a pickup truck and I find its windshield. At really low mechanics level, I might break that windshield fully before I actually successfully extract it from the vehicle. Meaning that I then have to go find another, you know, another truck and try again. You waste a lot of parts that way. So it is definitely way more efficient to do those things at higher level, which is why I didn't bother to move a bed into my loft until I was like a carpenter level 6. Because I figured, you know, my carpenter level is too low, or so low, that I am almost certainly going to fail over and over and over again before I make this happen. Yeah, I left the laundromat door open. That should be okay. I had kind of a late start yesterday because I was exhausted and went to sleep late. So maybe I read just a few more minutes of this mechanics volume and then hit the sack. Something that I can't seem to do in real life. So let's plan the day. We're in Rosewood, which means that one place that we could try to search would be the auto mechanic shop. I'm not going to say it's going to have a welder's mask. It probably won't, but it will probably have a jack, allowing us to swap out brakes and tires and suspensions. So that's a start. So that's where I'm going to go to first. And then from there, we'll figure it out. That is really good coffee today. Oh, I forgot to top up my water. I'm gonna go do that. Maybe grab some frozen fruit that will thaw, because I don't have any. I ate the cereal that was in my bag. Let's do another pineapple. And pie slices. How we stick pie slices in our backpack, I don't know. So what I'm trying to obviously do, and this should be pretty obvious to all of you, is eat the perishable stuff first. The non-perishable stuff, like every now and then I'll eat out of convenience. So like I ate cereal last night because I couldn't be bothered to like microwave a pineapple until it was thawed. But yeah, definitely eat your perishable stuff first, because that's the stuff that will be inedible very quickly. But I have most of these cardboard boxes are completely full of non-perishables. So if I did manage to move a significant amount of storage shelves up into my loft, in my Food Mart loft, we could move all of that food eventually to have it secured. I don't think there's a ton of value in it. I don't think the likelihood of my bottom floor being swarmed and me losing access to it is all that likely, but one could make the argument it's better safe than sorry. You know, move it or lose it. I'll leave the car running. So this is the auto repair place to my right or to my east. I also have to remember that my crowbar's not got a lot of life left in it. I love when they fall down. Makes fighting a lot easier. And now that we have our electrical skill all the way up, anytime I have an opportunity to break down electrical, like TVs, radios, etc., watches, Discmen, earbuds, I should take it, because the electrical grind sucks to do when that's all you're trying to do. It does not feel good. That's pretty much true of all skills. So being able to pair skill grinding together, so you go in a house and you're like breaking down furniture for carpentry, and you're breaking down electrical, or like TVs for electrical, and washers and dryers for mechanical, makes it a little bit more tolerable. I'm trying to listen to the radio while this lady rolls up on me. Because I'm still a little surprised that I haven't had power loss warnings. It's pretty late. I mean, we're almost in August, which is unusually late. Especially given that I've been ready to lose power for weeks now. I've had a generator for a while. Hey, Armors, thank you for the resub. These watches can't be broken down. It's only the digital ones that are electrical skill breakdowns. I don't know where those zombies are migrating. There's a decent amount of zombies just kind of like lurking around, and I want to make sure that while I'm inside, I don't have them all swarming me. So I'm just going through the effort of clearing them out while they're easy. Another thing you might have noticed is a lot of the clothing that I'm finding now on these zombies is in worse condition, generally speaking, than it was like a week or two ago. And that's another game mechanic where the average quality of clothing that can be damaged will become damaged. Meaning that if you want to build up a supply of spare clothing for the cases that you get attacked and hurt and your damage is, your clothing is damaged, working on that spare supply really early on goes a long way. Because fresh leather jackets, for instance, become increasingly less common unless you're going into clothing stores. Finding it off of zombies becomes somewhat rare for fresh ones that without holes. Now, at a high enough tailoring skill, you can patch holes, but it's not a reasonable grind for new players to attain. It takes far too long to get to like tailoring level, I think it's 7. Yeah, that's a big grind. Ooh, a bourbon bottle. So bourbon bottles hold a lot of water for their weight, which is why I like them. And we can also take the shelving at the end. So I already have a tire pump, but I'm going to put this tire pump on the ground so that the shelf is empty. This is a heavy-duty tire. I'm going to basically empty all the shelves out so I don't have to search them twice. Regular shocks. If I wanted electrical, or mechanical rather, books, this would be a good place. But I own all that. Average mufflers. And we'll aim to take this shelf too. Here's a sports tire. It's not too common that you find those. And I'm still taking garbage bags so that I can, so that I'm able to make more water barrels. And I think for these shelves, what I'll do is I'll just pull the van in to the vehicle bay, because that will be a little bit safer than driving around and, or picking it up and running it around with it. But yeah, this shop so far didn't even have a jack. It had like a... Oh, welder's mask. There we go. That's one of the things I was looking for. So that's really nice because I'll be able to do some lovely metalworking with that. That's been the one thing I have been looking for. So marked off the list. Now it's just a jack and a sledgehammer. And I'm quite surprised that there hasn't been a jack here. Because it's like an auto repair place. The bourbon bottle is also a very nice find. How was my weight? 80? So when you have a welder's mask and a propane torch, you can break metal stuff down to level up your metalworking. One challenge with that, however, is it takes a lot of propane to do a lot of skill grinding. So it can be relatively expensive to do. So I'll show you the difference of the water bottles here. So the regular water bottles have, they weigh 8 or 0.8, and the bourbon bottles weigh 0.7. And then, I'm trying to see how to do the bourbon bottle. Oh, well, there goes. I guess I could pour it into like a bucket or something. But yeah, its total volume is greater than the plastic ones. But I would need to pour it into like a finite container. I'll do it this way. So if I pour one of the plastic bottles on the ground, because I'm not planning on keeping them, and then pour the bourbon bottle into the empty bottle, you can see the difference. So the bourbon bottle still has water left in it, the plastic bottle is completely full, and the bourbon bottle weighed less. So it is it weighs less and contains more water. Don't ask me how, it kind of defies logic, but there you go. And that's why I collect those. Because they're pretty good bang for the buck. Because water is, well, water's heavy. So having to walk around with water constantly is a bit of a pain. So limiting the amount of weight it takes is advised. Stop breaking the metric system. Yeah, there's a few zombies out here. Clear them and then take the shelving. So the other good place to... Ooh, military boots. I'll take those. The other good place to just find jacks would be in the trunks of cars. It's going to be a lot easier to find jacks in car trunks when my skill allows me to hotwire cars and like break into... Well, you can always break into cars, I guess, and then open up the trunks. Boots, like military boots, they usually hold up kind of a long time, but they're not made of a material that you can repair, so once your shoe has a hole in it, you gotta replace it or you're gonna be cutting your feet constantly. Glass is heavier than plastic, so it's really weird. I know. Didn't say it made sense, I'm just saying it's... As I proved, pouring the plastic one, or the bourbon one into the plastic one, I very much proved that, yeah, it contains more water and it weighs less weight, so do it! I usually keep the welder's mask on me as an everyday carry, so that when I happen upon metalwork stuff, I can just break it down. It's a little challenging because, especially if you, if your player's starting traits are like weak or whatever, it's going to be really challenging for you to carry all the tools that you find useful. Because you have very restricted carry weight, especially if you don't find a good backpack. On the other hand, no matter how strong your character is, I should leave that running. Your carry capacity is always the same, which I find funny. It's just, at what point does it start encumbering you? So, you can have a strength of 10 or a strength of 0. You can still carry the 50 encumbrance units. It's just, at what point does it start to hurt? Is sort of the way the system works. Which I find funny. So I think what I might do is I might put my extra food in these metal lockers. Or something like that. And use these metal lockers as part of the food storage that I have. Because I have a bunch of metal lockers in here, I might as well put them to use. It's funny that you're joking about lead being in the plastic, but leaded gasoline wasn't banned until 1996. And it's 1993 in game. So, like, yeah, there actually might be a little bit of lead. I mean, not actually coded into the game, but IRL. if I'm running a van indoors with leaded gasoline, it's spewing out some lead. So the trunk here is full. Can't fit anything more because those shelves weigh a ton. So I'll carry one of these metal lockers on me myself. Or I'll break it. Okay, I guess I broke that one. I got the second one. It's why I really like the large metal racks, because they don't have a break chance, whereas these lockers obviously do. Thank you for tuning in to Rad's Guide to Project Zomboid, which originally streamed live on Twitch April 18th. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow zombie survivors.